What should we make of OPEC's decision to reduce production and turn their backs on the U.S.? Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Stormwall.com. I'm Mike Wilkerson, the founder of Stormwall and author of the upcoming book, Why America Matters, coming out by the end of the month, October 2022. So last week, OPEC Plus, the organization of petroleum exporting countries and their allies, took a decision against loud protests from the Biden administration to reduce production for the second month in a row. Now, this is going to tighten supply in the oil markets and cause prices to rise for gas, diesel, and other commodities. So we know that fuel prices are already on the rise. We've seen it over the past few weeks after a slower summer. And I recently wrote that I expect them to go even higher by the end of this year. To explain why this is, let's give a little background. So for the past 40 years, Saudi Arabia has served as the U.S.'s most important ally amongst the oil-producing countries of the Middle East. Time and time again, the Saudi princes would reluctantly yield to accommodate the will of the U.S. in terms of foreign policy, even when it was not in their short-term interest or when it cost them with their neighbors. In exchange for selling oil at reasonable prices, they received U.S. military and technical support, while the U.S. government turned a blind eye to the regime's oppressive treatment of women, minorities, and infidel Christians in their midst. The Saudis treated President Trump with a respect born of fear. These same princes treat President Biden with a disrespect born of contempt. By disregarding the pleadings of the Biden administration to maintain output, the Saudis have signaled that they are shifting their alliance. In short, they esteem China as a more valuable relationship than the U.S. and are switching teams faster than LeBron James. Now, nonetheless, the United States, while simultaneously begging bankrupt and decrepit Venezuela for help, will still have to buy oil from the Saudis for the foreseeable future. And the Saudis will happily sell it, but on their terms and at their prices. In less than 2 years, the U.S. has gone from being a price setter to a cap-in-hand price taker. We have absolutely no leverage, and OPEC knows it. The U.S. has reverted from net exporting its vast reserves of fossil fuels to net importing, while recklessly draining its strategic petroleum reserves, leaving the country vulnerable in a real crisis. I write in Why America Matters that the consequences of the shifting geopolitical landscape and dismantling of America's domestic energy production capacity will be severe. We will see the growing effects of it within the next 2 months, even as winter approaches and supplies dwindle, reflecting in rising energy prices across the board. Many consumers and economic observers were pleased to see the gas prices start to go back down during the summer. Economists saw in it what they wanted to see and believed what they wanted to believe, which was that inflation was coming down and energy markets were normalizing. They were wrong, and now prices are rising again, and prices are not going to go back down anytime soon. It's going to get worse, and here's why. Global supply remains tight compared with demand. So OPEC Plus has just agreed to reduce output by 2 million barrels after a smaller tightening last month. Europe's natural gas crisis, a different product and supply chain altogether, is nonetheless producing substitution effects and impacting oil and other markets. The sabotage of Russian-German energy infrastructure invites tit-for-tat responses from Russia and our allies against the U.S. and the West's infrastructure. And last but not least, short-sighted energy policy is slowly but surely translating into higher structural prices, meaning that they're likely here to stay. As the saying goes, you cannot have your cake and eat it too. So the U.S. cannot constrain its own production and transport, sanction and then sabotage Russia's, sell its petroleum reserves to private commodity traders who then ship those same barrels to Europe, India, and China, and fail to read or at least understand the significance of its own data about the supply-demand imbalances in an essentially global market, and not expect severe consequences. Biden administration attempts to blame, bully, excoriate, overregulate, and punish both U.S. major producers and the hapless small fuel retailers alike are the equivalent of beating the proverbial dead horse. Government plans to implement price controls disconnected from market realities won't work and will create worse problems, i.e. shortages, than they seek to solve, i.e. price inflation. That's why we're having to relearn these painful lessons of history through blind repetition of experience, and this is extremely frustrating. I explore these and other related topics in my new book, Why America Matters, coming out with Post Hill Press at the end of October 2022. If you've enjoyed this and want to learn more, head over to whyamericamatters.com and pre-order a copy at a discount. So please also don't forget to give this video a like, to share it, and to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Turn on the notifications bell so you'll be up to date on all the new videos and clips. And you can always find all of my videos, writings, and other information and materials at stormwall.com. If you haven't signed up there with your email to get a weekly newsletter, please do so. You'll get nice pieces on timely issues. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time on stormwall.com.